Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Spotlight on Addiction and Recovery. I'm Scott Jones, your host, and we have a great guest here today. But before we go into that, I want to remind everybody, make sure that you like us on our ATC Network channel on YouTube and sign up for notifications, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It's really important that we get the word out there with addiction, recovery, and everything that has to do with it. Right now, I want to introduce our guest. This is Hannah Marks. Hannah and I met about a month ago. We were at a conference and we met. We were doing some trainings together, and Hannah is the owner of Wherehabcom, right?
Right.
Yes. I got all that in.
You got it all in.
Okay. Now, first of all, good to see you.
Same here.
You took our training. You enjoyed that, I hope.
Yeah, very much so. It was very informative.
You had one bad experience at the conference. I know that it was traumatic. Somebody stole your rock.
I left my rock because you guys hand out those drawn-on motivational rocks. I left it at my booth because we had sponsored, and I came back and it was gone.
Well, somebody probably thought you were giving it away.
It was must have been really meaningful. But there was one rock. I have 40 pamphlets and one rock. Did they really think I was giving away my rock?
When we do the trainings, we give away these little rocks, and they had little sayings on it, and we had just enough for people who were there, and you got yours stole.
Yeah.
So. Hey, you got it back though, right? Did you get your replacement?
My mom has it, but
she didn't give it to you.
Yeah, but the universal bank account will it'll come back to me.
It'll come back. Excellent. All right. So anyway, I was really interested in what you do because you're somewhere between a directory, Yelp, and some sort of listing and rating of rehabs and treatment centers. Is that right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
and a little more.
Yeah. So let's talk about first how you started this. Why is this something that you would do?
Yeah, so I'm in recovery. I've been sober for 9.5 years. I'm 26. I got sober.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I got sober at 17, so I got to go to college younger. And while I was in college, I was working at a treatment facility, and it was really bad. I was wondering why people would send their children there. Yeah, no, they'll tell you, if your child is very much, haughty-taughty or whatever you would say, this might not be the best program for them. They might want to leave right away. So you have to kind of gauge where the individual is at, too. How willing are they to come here? And do they hate 12 steps? Because if they hate 12 steps, you might not want to start them off in a 12-step program right away. Just, that kind of transparency from the program is usually what I look for when I look for a recommendation.
So, you mentioned something about calling. So, just seeing it and reading about it on Wherehab.com, and again, great resource, but just seeing it there, you still want people to get a feel for it themselves by talking to somebody.
Yeah, you're going to have to.
Now, do you have any tips for doing that? Because a lot of times when you call a rehab, all of a sudden you're stuck with the admissions guy who will say anything to you.
They don't have any clinical background.
So, how would you suggest they do that?
So there's a few ways. If someone's looking for treatment, they are welcome to call me, and I will put them in touch with someone who I know is experienced and a clinical background and educated on addiction. And I recommend just putting your trust in one person and not doing 5 different people and getting information from 5 different people.
Right.
Pick one person and then kind of just trust them through the process. Which we can be that person. I'll help them. But really.
But when you call a treatment center, I'm saying, as the father of somebody who's going into treatment, I don't want to talk to a marketing or an admissions kid whose job is just to get them through the door. I want to talk to somebody in clinical or something. Can you do that with these places?
That's why with our website, we don't put admissions lines on the pages. It's people. So,
oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. But you suggest they do talk to them.
Yeah, I talk to the person, get a feel for them, get a feel for the program. It's almost like when you find a sponsor in 12-step, see if they, and ask them, do they have outcomes? There's difficult questions you can ask, and that they're either going to give you the BS answer. If a center tells you they have 90% success rate, run.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Addiction won't even allow 90% success.
Yeah. If they're already lying to you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's not something you want to get involved in. Um, I would also suggest, tell me if I'm wrong, but if it is possible, tour the place or
Mhm.
see it for yourself, because
And
we've all been fooled by the pictures.
it's really important to consider what that individual is going to do post treatment as well. Like if they're going to go home right after treatment, it's probably better to send them somewhere more local because that way they'll have their supports in treatment, and when they get out, they'll still have their supports.
Right.
So if you send them to Florida and then they're coming right back, they're not going to have anything at home.
So there are advantages, and actually that was going to be my next thing I was going to bring up. There are some advantages to like going far from home, but there's also some advantages towards being home. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, so the thing about treatment is there's no people always ask me like, "Oh, what is the answer? What do you do for a person?" And there's no answer for everyone. Everyone is individual. Like people are different. They all have their unique experiences that bring them to where they are in life. So you really have to kind of look at the situation and understand what that person needs. Like, what are they struggling with? Does this and the treatment center that's right for them today could maybe not be right for them 3 weeks from now because a lot of it depends on the client. Like, ask about what the population is like. Is it close to their age range? Is it older people? Is there only one other girl in the program right now? Like, having that information is really important. And yeah, sometimes going away is great. Like if they're in a very dangerous situation or they have someone that will come and get them and take them out of the program, probably getting them away from that environment is best.
Right.
And keeping them away is probably best. Maybe they should not be coming home right away, but it's really unique to the person.
Well, I love that point you made. If they're looking at long term, then maybe being away from your environment's good. If you're looking at a short term, I love that idea. That, better to be close to home. That way, you could build a network that's close because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to need
And
it.
starting therapy, like maybe if the person's not ready to go to treatment, you can get them in therapy, so at least they're building that network right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have now you got Wherehab, and it talks about treatment centers, and I guess they can search for it by insurance, by geography. They can search for it 1,000 ways, I'm
Yeah.
sure. So there should not be an issue with you being able to find what you want there. Do you have any information about 12-step programs and other support systems?
That's in our app. So
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So our social media app, it has all meetings in your area. You can add meetings. It kind of grows organically. We're doing an update right now, so all the online meetings are going to be listed there as well. So there's different resources, whether it's like AA, NA, CA, HA, ACA, Al-Anon. There's lots of resources there. So
I heard there was an IA now, Internet Anonymous. But
yeah, I'm sure.
all their meetings are online, so it kind of messes it up. Um,
The irony.
it's a true story. You can't make that up. So, I mean, people just go to the site. They can get in there. Now, if a treatment center wants to be a part of your site, they have to contact you. Is that right?
Yes.
And then what do? Do you go through like a vetting process for them?
I look at first I'll start looking around at their website. I have people all over the world that I've built relationships with from conferences and things like that. So I'll start calling and ask them what they know about the program, and then sometimes I'll do mock calls, like pretending I need treatment to see how they handle stuff, things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's your secret agent name? No, I won't ask because then you can't use it anymore. Well, that's really cool. I mean, have you seen some success with this? Are you starting to really?
Yeah.
Because how long have you been doing it? First of all, you
I
haven't been doing it
started
the whole
the
9 years.
business. No, I started the business, I want to say, in the beginning of 2017.
Okay.
So almost 4 years. But really, it kind of, the first year was just
Sure, you're getting
building,
it together,
yeah.
right? So, what kind of success are you seeing? Are you seeing people getting information and getting
yeah.
help?
And I mean, I've sat in on interventions and things like that. I see a lot of success, honestly. The people that I work closely with, especially, like this one girl, the first girl I ever kind of helped get into treatment, it was like almost 3 years ago. My mom actually did the intervention with her family, and now she's like still sober. She's married. She has kids, and at the time, like, she couldn't get off her couch. So it's pretty cool to see that, and it's happened quite a few times where people I was involved with, like, it made a difference. So it's cool to see that because a lot of time, like, you have the shuffle, the rehab shuffle. So taking someone out of that and kind of just saying, like, this is what you need to do. Like, you need to go to detox, then you need to go to treatment, and then you need to go to sober living, and then you need a sober roommate, and, like, watching people follow those suggestions. And then it really makes a difference when the parents, like, are contacting, either they'll contact me or my mom, who's a psychologist, and asking for advice and, like, giving it, and then they have someone who's educated on the topic. They're not just throwing things at them, because unfortunately, like, treatment or healthcare makes more money on failure than it does on success.
Right, because people keep coming back in and through.
And I emphasize healthcare too, because for some reason it's like the spotlight's been on drug treatment, but it's not like drug treatment is the only industry in American healthcare that thrives on failure. Like, if you
pharmaceutical industry,
any healthcare industry is the way of the business. Like, if you go to the hospital, you're paying $700 for an Advil, and then people think it's outrageous when your drug screens cost like $600. But, like, that is just healthcare. That's how the nature of the business.
Yeah,
it's not treatment. It's healthcare.
So, are you, is part of your mission here is to make people more responsible for themselves and making better decisions for themselves?
Yeah,
too?
my mission is just to provide a safe space for people to get organic, real information.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, hopefully they'll start making good decisions and doing things like that.
And it's kind of morphed more into as well as, like, providing outcome data.
Right. Well, that's something, a service obviously that you do for the treatment centers, and hopefully some of that outcome data, if we start to look at it in a more scientific way, we might start thinking about ways to improve the treatment itself. Because the track record has not been great.
Yeah,
but
like
I said,
new.
There's still a lot of good people out there. There's still a lot of good people doing good jobs. Check them out at Wherehabcom. Does it cost anything for me to go on and look for treatment or to get your app or any of that stuff?
No, it's all free.
You don't charge for the app?
No, we don't make money. Like, we're still in the red. It's okay, though.
You said that very sadly. We don't make money.
I mean, I'm not sad about it, because for me, before I started my business, I was, like, in a very awkward stage in life where it's like I had, like, 5 years of sobriety, and it was like, what's next? And it's like I was looking for purpose. And, like, my company gave me, like, purpose, and it's, like, if it's something I can do that feels really good, I've grown out of that now more. It's, like, I don't need a career to have purpose. It's, like, being in the moment and personal growth is my purpose. But, like, having my business really taught me so much about relationships and connection and, like, being vulnerable. Like, literally, starting a business is, like, getting naked and, like, doing a math problem in the middle of Times Square. Like, you're so vulnerable.
Right, yeah.
Like, if it fails, it's so scary, but it's been, like, it's been a growth process.
Well, we totally get it. We've been there with ATC and some of our other projects, but it's a passion. Was there any kind of conflict? I mean, this is a personal thing, and this is up to you, but is there any kind of conflict for you interiorly on your inside about, making your business part of your recovery or vice versa? Did you ever have moments where you're like, should I be doing this? Or because some people do question that.
Why would I question it?
Well, some people, I know that in the past I've had people like, well, you're just using your sobriety to build a business. And it's like, but that's not what it is. This actually is just a better expression of my sobriety by bringing it into business. Do you have the same kind of feeling?
I've seen people do things like that, and I've experienced judgment. Like, I've seen people come to like, recovery programs just to get business. And then being in a 12-step recovery and sharing about that openly, and working in the industry. I mean, it's just a fact of my life, Like, it would be dishonest for me not to share it. So
right.
I've never felt like I've used it in a manipulative way.
Right.
Like, so and everything is unique. Like, if I've learned anything, it's like there's no right or wrong answer for any situation. It's an ebb and flow. So I always have to evaluate what's my motives. So yeah.
And that's important. And if everybody else was doing that with their motives, especially like with the treatment centers that you're working with, if they would really examine their motives,
they'd probably find a new job.
They would probably, because this is not the business where you're going to get rich.
Yeah.
And if you are getting rich, it's probably because you're not doing it the right way.
Yeah, like I have people who work for admissions, and they're still my friends, and like I love them, but when I listen to them on the phone, I'm like, this is a sales pitch. Like, it's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
And you're mentioning your recovery, and you're building trust on that recovery, but like I haven't felt, there hasn't been a time where I felt like I gained a lot because I shared this, and I intentionally used my recovery to get me farther along in a conversation or a relationship, to get something personal.
Right,
yeah.
right. So what's next, Hannah? I mean, you're young, you're kind of an upstart, you're still going to school and doing other things.
Yeah.
And you've got this thing, and looking at the website, and I encourage everybody, once again, Wherehabcom. Looking at your website, it's pretty extensive what you have. Is there more that you want to do? What's kind of where you want to go with this?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to continue to put energy into the business and see it grow. I've definitely learned a lot, especially with developing things, like developing software. It's a process, and I've learned a lot, and I just kind of, I've committed to it, so I made a commitment to it, my company and my mission. So really, it's just continuing to work with it, and like I said, I have to consistently evaluate where I'm at. Like, opportunities have come, people have wanted to be a part of my business, and I've had to like say no and kind of just trust the process. But really, it's grown organically. Like, I haven't spent money on marketing, but people know about it, and like I have a lot of strong relationships, and opportunities have arisen, and just kind of sticking with it, like putting one foot in front of the other day by day, and then I continue to work on myself. And I mean, I don't know, I used to think more about what's next, but where I'm at in life, like I wouldn't say I'm happy all the time, but I have like this contentedness, So it's like I work on something, but I don't feel like this desperation for it anymore. There's less fear.
It's more like just stay on the path because it feels right, and it's all working. And I really like that. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, can they get a hold of you through your site? Mm-hmm. Do they got a place where they can send messages and do different things?
Yeah, all of that, phone numbers.
And I guess lastly, if somebody has a suggestion or a place that they think you should talk to or look at, they could also contact you with that information as well, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Hannah, absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, same here.
We'll have to have you come back again, and I want everybody out there, make sure you check out Wherehabcom. That's Where-Hab.com. And just poke around a little bit. Take a look. Even if you've gone to treatment, maybe you're not looking for a treatment center, but you just want to find some great tools, some great literature in there with the blogs and everything else. And, definitely spread the word. It's a great way to research and look on your own and get the real deal instead of just looking at all the pretty pictures on Google, because they ain't all right, people. They ain't all right.
Anytime, one quick suggestion,
yes.
You look up a program, just search them on Google Maps real quick.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll find out the ritzy place is in a really bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or things like that. Google Earth pictures sometimes can tell a whole lot too.
Yeah, because in Google Maps you can do the live version.
Yeah,
so you can see the building.
You can see everything. We're not talking about buying a car here, folks. We're not talking about going out and buying a pair of shoes. We're talking about somebody's life, and to trust that to anybody without absolute examination, absolute positivity that they're doing the right things, is just wrong. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. Everybody deserves the best chance at recovery. You got an opportunity and you found recovery. I got an opportunity and I found recovery. Had I gone with the wrong people or made the wrong choices, that might not have happened, and I don't know where I would be. So make sure you're making right choices and doing good things.
Yeah.
Hannah, absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us right here on Spotlight on Addiction and Recovery. Make sure you like us on our YouTube page, the ATC Network. We'll catch you next time.